You're listening to The Outcue, a 21 News journalist perspective on a top news story.
Good morning. It is Thursday, March 6th. I'm Assistant News Director Justin Mitchell, and this is The Outcue. As promised last week, we're going to be expanding our podcast offerings to a little bit of everything from sports and weather to pop culture, entertainment, anything that's just interesting. So, as we said last week, we're going to introduce those today, and we're going to start with the hosts of each of these shows. First up is The Vibe, which is with Jimmy Wendolek and Jodie White. So, guys, are you excited?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we are excited. At first, honestly, it was a bit of a surprise, I guess, in a way, because neither of us have ever been on a podcast before. No. So it was kind of like a, well, how does this work type of deal. But now that we're into it and we're trying to figure out like the order of the show and just try to make it our own,
yeah,
it's going to be an exciting thing.
And I don't listen to podcasts, so I have to familiarize myself with what we're going to be doing.
Which, you know what, the thing about these podcasts are, not to be like anything else. You can do whatever you want with it, pretty much. I mean, you know, within reason.
A conversation with Jimmy and I, because we're friends outside of work, so we're bringing everybody into our conversation.
So tell us about The Vibe. You say you've been thinking about what it might be. I mean, what do you think the general feel is going to be for what you guys are going to be doing?
Well, we want to be almost like a community and lifestyle type of conversation, like Jodie was saying, where we're talking about different things that are happening in and around the community and different things that people might be going through in their life the next week or so, like big events or big general topics that people just might be able to take something useful out of and maybe apply it to what they do on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, it's going to be similar to the Out and About section on WFMJ Today, where we're going to have those conversations with people that we might have already met on that show. Our first conversation is going to be with one of my very good friends here in the Valley, Heather from Let's Greenhouse.
Yeah, so we're going to talk to her about, you know, gardening tips. It's going to be going into springtime, end of March, early April. Yeah. So everyone can get their home garden prepared and all that type of good stuff.
Yeah.
So we usually see you guys in a more formal setting where, you know, you're on television doing the weather and that's sometimes very serious. And then we see you have fun a little bit. But what we don't get to see is you just be relaxed and tell us a little bit just about yourselves, unless we follow you on TikTok, which many do.
Thank you.
So in a more relaxed setting, just tell the viewers a little bit about yourselves and the things that interest you and that we might hear about on future editions of The Vibe.
Well, I think one thing that I'm already starting kind of thinking about forward to April and May is I like to be outside. I like to be very active. My off days, I wake up and I go to the gym and then I go to the park and play pickleball. I'm a big pickleball person. So just trying to stay active. And I know that a lot of people around the Valley have outdoor interest. Like I know that disc golf is a big thing here. There's disc golf parks all over the place. I kind of want to get into that. Yeah. So I know that we have someone who we've done out and about segments with at a disc golf shop, maybe having him come in, just talk about that whole community here locally and just some other general interest things like that as we go into warmer weather season.
Yeah, and I'm a mother. I have two boys that are 12 and 13. So I'm very busy once I get home. I have another job, which is being mom, and I also have a dog, and we love having an active lifestyle as well. I'm a golfer. I'm also a shuttle driver for my kids, so taking them to soccer. It's club, indoor travel, school soccer. I'm doing a lot of that. I sometimes highlight it on my Instagram and TikTok, especially the golf. But yeah, we love an active lifestyle.
And I think something else interesting about like having Jodie and I do this is neither of us are from here. I'm from New Jersey originally. She still lives outside of Pittsburgh. So we've learned about these great places here around the Valley and had to become kind of ingrained ourselves and figure out our way through that. Yeah. So now we get to almost share what we learned and maybe these kind of off the beaten path
little
places
hidden
or
gems.
things that we can share with everyone else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look ahead then, just any future topics you're thinking about. I know you talked about what the first one's going to be. Do you have them planned out beyond that, or is it going to be sort of by the seat of our pants here?
I think we might do tomatoes for April, and then just the concert series,
Yep.
perhaps.
Yeah, we know that the amphitheater obviously is going to get going with the summer months with their summer concert series, so getting the details on all that. And then up towards Warren, River Rock at the Amp, maybe getting someone in to talk about some of those events that may be happening, because during the summertime, there's so many things happening here around the valley with the concerts, and the Scrappers will start
Yeah,
playing
and
as
First
well.
Fridays, I wanted to highlight on those because that's so important, and to be in the city. Yeah.
Be able to look out that window and see some of that
Yes.
activity.
Perhaps some golf chat.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit.
A lot of golfers in the valley. So your guys, this one debuts on which day? Because I think the Score is the first
Yes.
one next week, and then are you guys the following? Or I'm
So
sorry, I don't have the
we
schedule
are
in
the
front of me.
last week of the
Last-
month. So
Last
it's the
week of March.
26th, I think.
Okay,
It comes
and
out.
then everyone will be just like the Outcue has been. It's going to be coming out every Thursday at around 5 a.m. and we'll alternate. So guys, thanks for being with us today. And a little bit later, we're going to have Dana and Eric in to talk about their respective new podcasts. We're going to just keep building this brand here, guys.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
And we're back with the hosts of the other two new podcasts that we're going to be launching, as we've been talking about all morning so far. We've got Dana Balash and we've got Eric Wilhelm. And they will be hosting Dana will be hosting The Score, which debuts next week. And then Eric will be hosting The Radar, which is, now yours would be what? The one after that, right? Isn't it? Yeah, okay, so it goes, that's right, okay. I got to get the order right. I didn't get it right earlier either. So guys, we're just, this is fairly loose. We just want to talk about, I guess, Dana, we'll start with you. Tell us about The Score. What's the general feeling of what you're thinking you're going to bring to this?
Well, it's, in a sportscast, we only have a couple of minutes, and certainly having this opportunity to bring in guests to talk about things a little more extended. We'll talk YSU athletics, we'll talk high school athletics, we'll talk pros. It gives us an opportunity to expand that a little bit on the hot topics of the day, and the hope is to bring in the newsmakers of the day in the sports world. So looking forward to our first one next week.
Absolutely. And Eric, then you'll have The Radar, and weather's one of those topics similarly where you get the basics every day, but there's a whole world out there to talk about.
Much like Dana mentioned, we only have a couple of minutes in the newscasts, and so it's nice to have a forum to expand. There's always interesting things going on in the weather world, and we'll kind of expand from weather and talk about general science things sometimes. And we're heading into the spring season, and we're getting into severe weather season, and so we're going to be talking about severe weather awareness coming up here in March. And then, of course, later this spring, we're going to be focusing a lot on the anniversary of the May 31st, 1985 tornado outbreak. So 40 years since that historic outbreak. We'll be talking about that.
So now, since a podcast is a more relaxed setting than the way that the viewers normally get to see both of you, is there anything that the viewers should know about you, just more informally, just about who you are, what makes you tick, what you hope to bring to the table here?
Well, I think, in the sports world, there's so many different variety of topics. For myself personally, I've been doing this a long time. I'll celebrate my 40th anniversary at this fine organization later this month. So it's an opportunity to expand on, people that you get to know over the years, people you can trust over the years, people you could bring in, and maybe give you some information that, again, you really can't get in a quick interview. It gives them a chance to explore a little bit, gives us a chance to explore as well.
Absolutely, beyond the sound bites.
From my end, I'm a weather and science geek, that is for sure. And in fact, I do a video every day called Weather for Weather Geeks. And our podcast will be kind of in a similar vein in that it'll be a little more informal than what you see on the newscast. I won't be wearing a suit jacket, and it'll just be kind of an informal chat. And again, it's a forum to allow our inner geekdom to come out a little bit, whether it be me or Andrew DiPaolo or our other weather staff as well. We'll be talking about all things weather and science, and doing so in a way that is a little bit different than when you tune into our newscast.
And I think the relaxation and the informality is a key to this, because the guest will be relaxed as well, and certainly, in a forum like this, you have an opportunity, again, to ask questions maybe that you can't ask in a general forum.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody's guard is a little bit more down. It's an informal conversation. Any topics you've already got picked out, or what your first one's going to be yet?
Well, we're going to start with YSU Athletic Director Ron Strola. We're going to talk about YSU athletics, the basketball teams. The two new coaches are coming off their first year, so we're going to touch on that. Doug Phillips is in his 5th year now, entering year number 6, and certainly we'll touch about YSU football. The big thing in college athletics these days is the NIL, the name, image, and likeness, paying student athletes, also the transfer portal. And again, gives us an insight to why YSU athletics, maybe talk about some of the Olympic sports that really don't get the just due that it deserves. And certainly looking forward to that, to give the viewers a chance to maybe become aware of something that they maybe were unaware of with YSU athletics. And again, when you have the executive director of athletics here, certainly I look forward to that, because I'm sure I'll learn something from him as well.
And on the weather-themed podcast, the debut of that will kind of coincide with Severe Weather Awareness Week in the state of Ohio. So we'll be talking about severe weather safety as we get into severe weather season. It also coincides with the beginning of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. And, we have a lot of agricultural interests in our area who may want to know more about what we expect in the growing season as planting season gets underway later in March and April, and kind of how this spring will compare to average and maybe some of our more recent springs. So we'll get into that here in March. And as I mentioned earlier, May will be a big month for us with the anniversary of the tornado outbreak. And then as we get into summer, it may be a little bit dependent on weather events. We might have a significant severe weather outbreak that we want to talk more about, that we can do so in our podcast. And we'll keep touching on other kind of sciencey and weather related and weather adjacent topics as well.
So really, for the viewers, this is really an outgrowth of what we've been doing on the Outcue for a little over a year now, where it's just there's all kinds of topics that you can only fit so much into a newscast. There's a lot more to talk about. There's a lot more to learn. And this is an opportunity to expand that. And I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are too. You excited?
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity for us also to interview our staff, talk to them, how they see, in my world, the sports world, I'm sure in yours, Eric, the weather. So it gives us a chance to, again, talk to staff members and get them better known and better acquainted to the community and viewers.
And I'm a fan of the podcast format. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I think it's the fastest growing source of information amongst a lot of people. So I think us delving into that format a little bit with a little bit more variety, touching on sports, touching on weather with a lot more frequency will be a good thing for our viewers and listeners here in the Valley.
Absolutely. So to remind everybody of the schedule here, instead of it being the Outcue every week, it's going to be, this is the Outcue coming out Thursday morning. Next week is when we'll debut the Score. Thursday morning, 5 a.m. it'll be out. And then the following week will be the Vibe. Again, Thursday morning, 5 a.m. And then the following week, the Radar, Thursday morning, 5 a.m. So it's all this same space. You can, like, subscribe. You can follow us on our YouTube channel. We'll also post these on our website, on our app. Share them, put them on social media. And if you've got any questions for any of the people involved that you'd like to see them talk about, or questions that you'd like any of us to answer, by all means, you can reach us at 330-744-8821. You can email news@wfmj.com, weather@wfmj.com, sports@wfmj.com. And you can reach us on Blue Sky. You can send us a Facebook message. There's any number of ways to reach us, and we're eager to hear from you. And until then, you'll see me not for several weeks now, and then we do the next Outcue, but that's because we're growing. Until the next time we meet, this has been the Outcue.